Authorities say 5 people died in a terrible car accident on the Cross Island Parkway. It's a spot neighbors tell us has always been problematic. CBS News' John Diaz joins us live from Whitestone, Queens. John?
Yeah, well, Cindy, good afternoon to you. And we are standing here live on an overpass right over the Cross Island Parkway. We're right below us. Authorities, they are still investigating that deadly car crash nearly 6 hours later. But let's get right here to this video. Take a look here at your screen. You can see 2 cars completely wrecked. One of them is upside down. Authorities confirmed with us that just before 6 o'clock this morning, a 2-car crash happened on the Cross Island Parkway by exits 36 North and South, where the Whitestone Expressway meets, and close by is the Whitestone Bridge. Now, 5 people traveling inside a Mazda, according to police, all died here at the scene, while another person who was traveling in a Honda was rushed to the hospital, where at this hour we have learned they're in stable condition. Now, we still don't know the circumstances of how this crash happened or who was at fault, but we do know, according to neighbors, this is a dangerous spot. They say that the way the road declines and then it turns sharply has caused several accidents in the past. They even have a nickname for it.
This is Dead Man's Curve. All right, it's a tight curve. It's always been a lot of accidents.
A terrible tragedy, and it's always this area. Cars go around this bend so quickly. And I don't think that, people realize how sharp of a turn it really is.
We heard the noise and we knew it was a bad one. It was earth-shattering. You could hear like the sounds of metal just crunching.
Now, authorities, they are still out here on scene investigating, including NYPD's Collision Investigation Squad. And while they work, they still have the lanes, northbound lanes here in this part of Cross Island Parkway shut down, and they are detouring traffic away from this accident. Let me tell you, it is moving really at a snail pace. For now, though, we are live this afternoon from Whitestone, Queens. John Diaz, CBS 2 News.
John, thank you.
This is such a terrifying situation. I talked with one neighbor who came rushing to help after the explosion. His description of the aftermath is chilling.
Went off like a bomb. I don't know how to explain it.
This is the voice of one of the first people to respond to the scene. The neighbor asking to remain anonymous.
I live about 100 yards from them, and by the time I drove there was still stuff falling from the sky that had fallen on my truck. Blew the neighbors' windows out of their house across the street.
Police say the calls started coming in just before 3:30 Saturday, a boom that shook the county.
They heard the explosion there 9 miles away.
The single-family home gone in a flash, nothing left but the basement. Neighbors rushing to help the frantic homeowner.
He was just asking us to help him find his family. Find my family, find my family, and then we found a couple of them.
6 people were in the house. 3 died on scene, 1 died at the hospital, the 2 others remain in critical condition. The view from above, the closest our cameras were able to get to the home, as emergency vehicles drove in and out of the blocked off rural area. Neighbors and police tell us the house ran on propane.
I'm no expert, but I smelled propane.
The cause of the powerful blow remains under investigation.
Our officers got a call just a while ago that somebody found debris on the other side of 23. With some paperwork on it, so we went over and collected that to see if it was from that, and it's debris from the house explosion.
The ages of the victims are still unknown. We expect to learn much more in the coming days. Reporting in Northfield Township, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
Chilling details of what authorities are investigating as a possibly thwarted terror attack in the first hour of this new year, involving a deadly car explosion and fire in Rochester, New York. Authorities say one car crashed into another outside the Kodak Center just before 1 a.m. One of the vehicles in flames while still moving. both cars hitting pedestrians and other vehicles. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force is now working with local police. ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky leads us off.
Tonight, the FBI and police in Rochester, New York, are investigating whether a car crash early this New Year's Day may have thwarted a terror attack. The fiery crash happened just before 1 a.m. outside the Kodak Center, where 1,000 people were coming out of a concert. A large SUV struck a smaller SUV as it pulled out of a parking lot. The force of the collision sent the two vehicles crashing through a group of people crossing the street.
2 people were killed and 2 more are fighting for their life as a result of a motor vehicle collision.
A number of pedestrians were injured. The crash caused a fire that took an hour to extinguish.
Once the fire was extinguished, first responders located at least a dozen gasoline canisters in and around the striking vehicle.
For weeks, police around the country have been on heightened alert out of concern the war in the Mideast could lead to violence at home. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force is now leading the investigation. Mary, they're trying to determine whether this was just a car accident or something far more sinister. Mary?
A frightening scene to start the new year. Aaron, thank you.
Japan is recovering right now from a series of powerful earthquakes that struck off the west coast yesterday. The death toll has climbed to at least 55 now, as strong aftershocks are still rocking that region. The most powerful was a magnitude 7.6 quake that triggered the nation's most severe tsunami warning. Thousands of buildings are damaged, and people are being told to stay away from their homes because of the ongoing risk of more aftershocks.
And now before we go to break, some breaking news here, some stunning images. Look at this. A plane caught fire on the runway in Tokyo at one of the biggest airports in Japan. Video showed a large burst of fire erupt from the side of a Japan Airlines plane as it taxied on a runway. Now, local reporting, which has not yet been confirmed by NBC News, says that all passengers on board, believed to have been nearly 400 people, got out safely. Stunning images here of this plane on fire on this runway at Tokyo's airport. Japanese media report that the plane was a domestic flight. We, of course, will bring more to you as we learn it, but at least for now, local media reports suggest all survived. Miraculous start to 2024 there.